Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here. Give me a call, 866-582-9933. That's the call-in number today and every day to talk to me live about your health issue, 866-582-9933. That's toll-free, 866-582-9933. Yeah, that's correct. The intro is correct. Striving to give you optimal health because you're not even close to having optimal health. And here's why. I can't tell you how many people have sat in my office across from my desk in the last 20 years, right? I've been a licensed naturopathic physician for over 2 decades now. It's my main source of income, my main business. I treat patients. And it's very common for someone to come in and sit down, sit across the desk for me, look me straight in the eye. I say, well, how are you doing? They say, well, Doc, I'm pretty healthy. I'm doing pretty good. And then we get into their health concerns. Well, they're overweight, they've got type 2 diabetes, they've got arthritis, they have insomnia, they have anxiety and panic attacks, they have heartburn, they have asthma, they have eczema, they have psoriasis, they have one or more of these things, right? And they're big, bad things. They're not just, I've got Charlie horses at night in bed. It's a big deal. And 10 seconds before they launch into their diatribe about their health issues, they're telling me how healthy they are. And this is our big disconnect. We are completely clueless as far as education in this country as to what constitutes health. I guess most people think that, for goodness sake, if they're up and, they've got all their limbs and they're able to walk around and they're able to feed themselves and they're able to talk and they're able to think, that they're healthy. Well, guess what? That's not it at all. If you have high blood pressure, you are by definition not healthy. If you have eczema, you are by definition not healthy. If you have arthritis or type 2 diabetes or insomnia or anxiety and panic attacks or you're overweight, you are by definition not healthy. The human body has a built-in God-given ability to fix itself, to maintain its health, and to keep itself going strong. Whenever anybody has a symptom, when you have a symptom, like, your knee hurts, or your breathing is difficult, or your heart doesn't beat correctly, or you can't fall asleep at night, or you've got pain, or you have a rash or a noticeable growth on the skin, or you've got something that's bothering you consistently, physically, mentally, or emotionally, you are not healthy. Because when you're healthy, your body is in a state of perfect balance and is symptom-free. Someone who is healthy is 100% symptom-free. You don't have pains in your stomach. You don't have pains in your joint. You don't have pains in your skin. You don't have pains in your brain or in your head. You fall asleep normally. You eat normally. Your appetite's good. Your digestion's good. Your urination's good. Your energy's good. Your sleep is good. Your thought process is good. You can handle the stress of life and not become symptomatic. Anybody who has a symptom, any symptom whatsoever, a symptom can only be present if your body has been destabilized by stress and is in a state of imbalance. Any symptom whatsoever, especially if it's a chronic, strong, or persistent symptom. Guess what? You're not healthy. And this is a reflection of a disconnect that we have here with the whole health thing. Because we have been underneath the wheel of allopathic reductionistic medicine for so long. And these people haven't done anything to teach us anything at all about health. As far as the MD is concerned, you have high blood pressure because you have a hydrochlorothiazide deficiency, or you have a bad gene, or because that's just life. That's just the way it is. As far as they're concerned, the machine's going to break down. It's either sooner or later. It's happening sooner and sooner with each generation. They have a completely infantile, juvenile understanding, backward, archaic, out-of-date, and dangerous understanding of health, the fundamental, the ground substance of health. This is why I say it all the time. Your MD does not know the first thing about health. They don't. What's the first thing about health? Your body has the ability to fix itself. What's the second thing about health? If you have a symptom, by definition, your body is in trouble and you are not healthy. When you're healthy, you're 100% symptom-free. And this is our goal, by the way, and this is what we accomplish all the time, which is why I use the phrase science-based, clinically verified. Clinically verified. Do I need to do $40 million of federally funded research, that includes all these double-blinded, placebo-controlled trials with asthma patients to know that my therapeutics for asthma work? No, I don't need to do that. It would be ridiculous. The whole medical system would fall down and disintegrate immediately if that was what was necessary. There is something called clinical experience, right? This, by the way, is how MDs get away with off-label prescribing. They do it all the time. So an MD will prescribe somebody an antidepressant for their blood pressure, or they will prescribe a blood pressure medicine to help somebody get to sleep, or they will prescribe a heartburn medicine in order to help regulate the person's thyroid function or whatever. It's called off-label prescribing. It's using a prescription medicine which has been approved by the FDA for one thing to treat something entirely different, and the doctor does that because of their clinical experience. Right? This is it. Clinical experience means a lot. So I don't need to do tons of research in order to know what to do to generate a positive outcome with my asthma patients. And even though I might have 10,000 people who were definitively diagnosed with asthma, get on board with my health recovery protocol, and then the asthma's gone. It has effectively been cured. I cannot say, nor can any of my colleagues say, that we can cure it. Because according to the FDA, in order to be able to use the cure word, there's a big ticket to that. That's about a $60 million word. And then, if I were to do all of the requisite research in order to be able to prove that my protocol cured something, let's say asthma, after I publish the research, the FDA would then make my treatment a drug. They would make my treatment a drug. They tried to do this with glucosamine sulfate years ago, and Dr. Wallach stopped them. They saw that glucosamine sulfate was extremely effective at helping people recover from asthma. Extremely effective. So what did they do? They tried to make glucosamine sulfate a drug. That's what they tried to do. They tried to make it a drug. Dr. Wallach stopped them. This is how insidious this industry is. This is how completely out of whack this industry is. And this is why you should not even listen for 60 seconds to anything that anybody has to say who has an MD after their name. You shouldn't. Because they support an industry which is the leading cause of death. They support an industry which is the leading cause of bankruptcy. They support and work for an industry which has consistently failed to help you recover your health. It is under their watch that obesity has skyrocketed, Alzheimer's has skyrocketed, autism has skyrocketed, heart disease has remained number 2 killer, cancer has remained the number 3 killer. They suck at what they do. And not only do they suck at what they do, but they go out of their way to keep every other medical practitioner underneath their jack boot. The only thing these people are good for is trauma and infectious disease and surgery when it's necessary. And, heaven forbid you're transported to the ER. You should have your doctor drug checked because according to Harvard University, 51% of emergency room medical doctors are addicted to street drugs, prescription drugs, or alcohol. You read about this all the time. There was a story in Florida about 6 months ago, horrifying story. A woman went in to the hospital to give birth. They cut her arms and her legs off. They cut her arms and her legs off. Why? Because the doctor who was performing the surgery was jacked out of his mind on drugs. And that doctor's still working. Nothing happened. maybe the woman can generate a class action or a civil suit against the guy, but he's still working for the hospital. Because when doctors kill you, it's considered just par for the course. It's collateral damage. By the way, your medical doctor, your MD, is the leading cause of death in the United States, to the tune of 780,000 people a year are killed by MD treatments. I was interviewed by a guy on the GCN radio network earlier this week. I forget his name. He has an early morning show. And he was trying to, generate the idea that the MDs, we really shouldn't just throw them all out, and that we really shouldn't just, I need to be more kinder and more gentler when it comes to my opinion and my stance about MDs. And I'm sorry, but I'm right and he's wrong. It's absolutely incorrect for anybody to even think kindly about someone who has an MD after their name if that MD is not practicing emergency medicine or military field medicine or trauma care or uses the surgical technique when it's necessary. These people are killing you. They're killing your family. They're killing your friends. They're killing your church members. Their monopolistic hold on the medical system in the United States is the reason that our health has gone to hell in a handbasket. We need to draw the line. Stop giving them your money. Cancel your comprehensive medical insurance, buy catastrophic insurance instead. Go to fireyourmdnow.com, sign up for my health recovery subscription series, and let me and my colleagues show you the way, for pennies on the dollar, to recover your health with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. We're suffering from two myths in this country. Myth number one, the MD is the undisputed emperor of medicine and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus quack. It's just not so. The only people selling snake oil in this country have MD after their name. And myth number two, healing is complicated. It's not. Healing is easy. Surgery is complicated. Healing is as easy as falling off a truck. Your body wants to fix itself. All that's necessary in order to support and promote your body's ability to fix itself is cleaning up your diet and filling your hatch, filling your nutritional tank with the right stuff in the right amounts in the right recipes. When you give your body the raw materials that it needs to fix itself, it fixes itself to the degree that it is able to fix itself, which most of the time is way much more than you think. You wouldn't believe the things I've seen people recover from in the last 20 years. You wouldn't believe it. If you knew what I know about the body's ability to fix itself, I mean, for goodness sake, there'd be a line outside my office and outside every longevity representative's office and outside of every longevity representative's home. The next time Dr. Wallach or myself gave a lecture, there'd be 50,000 people there, because we have it dialed in. We know what to do to help you recover your health. Why do we know? Because it's what we do for a living. We are the only medical people, we are the only physician-trained, physician-level, licensed people in the United States that have a clue, that have any clinical experience or any understanding, any professional knowledge base about alternatives to drugs and surgery. We're the only ones. We are the only show in town. And in the naturopathic community, in this community of licensed physicians, my colleague Dr. Wallach is the unheralded superstar and champion of the cause. Nobody has Dr. Wallach's the level of Dr. Wallach's clinical experience. Nobody has treated as many patients as Dr. Wallach has, and nobody certainly in the naturopathic community has done the amount of research, actual boots on the ground autopsy that Dr. Wallach has done. And it is this vast body of experience which lends to Dr. Wallach a knowledge base which is extreme. And it is that knowledge base which Dr. Wallach has used to your advantage. It is that knowledge base that Dr. Wallach has used to generate his health recovery formulas. You know, this isn't some super juice company, ladies and gentlemen. This is a get your health back now with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition therapeutics. Now, to get stuff like this, normally you'd have to pay hundreds of dollars an hour for private consultations from licensed naturopathic physicians. And, you know, maybe you're going to live in a state where insurance will cover that. Well, you're going to be lucky. There's only 16 states now, I think, where that option, not even 16 states, it's probably more like 10, where insurance actually covers what, medical insurance actually covers what naturopathic physicians do. But even if you're lucky enough to live in one of those states where insurance covers this and where there actually live and work licensed naturopathic physicians, there's only a handful of us that have mentored with Dr. Wallach. The average naturopathic doctor working in your town does not know what Dr. Wallach knows. And because Dr. Wallach has a networked business, the licensed naturopaths in this country for the last 25 years have looked down their nose at Dr. Wallach because they have an a priori built-in bias against anybody who has a networked business. Oh, how could you do that? How could you generate a business that tried to lift people up en masse in this country? How could you possibly do that? And it's nonsense. Listen, we have it dialed in, folks. In every line of work, there are people that stand out hands above, heads above everybody else. You know, Einstein, for example. Unbelievable, right? Michael Jordan. In the world of medical nutrition, in the world of naturopathic medicine, Dr. Wallach's therapeutics are unrivaled by anybody else. If you're struggling with a health issue and you don't do what Dr. Wallach tells you to do, I don't know, it's time for you to just, get life insurance and put a bullet to your head and give your family some money, for goodness sake. There is another way, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what I want to get into right now in this segment. Detox, right? Everybody has, it seems that every year there's something new in the underground, the holistic underground of, medical thought in the United States. Years ago, it was the ginkgo phenomenon. Then it was the colloidal silver phenomenon. Then it was the ionic foot bath phenomenon, right? And then colonics, and now it's detox. Everybody's all about the detox. I remember there was a wheatgrass thing in there for a while with Ann Wigmore and the Hippocrates Institute out of Cambridge, Mass. Well, the devil is in the details. And when it comes to detoxification, there are some very important things to understand. Your body has a very sophisticated detoxification mechanism. And most of the actual heavy lifting of detox happens in the liver. In the liver. That's one of the liver's main functions, is to detoxify your blood. So what happens? You breathe in air that has carbon monoxide or cigarette smoke in it or something, or you eat food that has pesticides in it or artificial preservative or coloring in it or something that the body isn't used to or something that's harmful to the body, or you drink something that's got crap in it, right? Well, if it's an exogenous toxic substance, like a pesticide, for example, or carbon monoxide or nicotine, that stuff goes into your system, filters into your blood, enters into the portal circulation. The portal circulation takes everything into the liver. The liver is like the clearinghouse. And inside your liver, your body attempts to deconstruct that molecule, to detoxify that particular molecule. Now, nicotine is an interesting thing to talk about. If you were to extract all of the nicotine that's in one cigarette, just one cigarette, just take all the nicotine out of one cigarette, and we did this in pre-med at the University of Massachusetts in a laboratory experiment, right? Nicotine looks like talcum powder. It's this little white powder. There's about enough of it to fit on top of a nickel, okay, in a little tiny mound. If you were to ingest all of the nicotine at once that's in one cigarette, it would kill you, because it's poisonous and your body can't handle that much of it all at once. But when you're smoking a cigarette, a little bit of nicotine goes in at a time, and your liver can detoxify a little bit at a time. Isn't that fascinating? There was a story when I was in pre-med when I was in medical school in Seattle, Washington, in the late 80s, the late 80s, early 90s. There was a story about a dentist in Florida who dropped dead while he was mowing his lawn. And on autopsy, they figured out what happened. Well, his lawn, a couple days before he went out and mowed it, had just been sprayed with one of those chemical fertilizers. You know, those fertilizer companies that go around and they spray the stuff on the lawn that kills the weeds, right? And kills all the bugs. Well, the stuff was still there on the lawn. It hadn't completely absorbed into the root system. And when he was out mowing the grass, the blades from the lawnmower aerated the pesticide, sent it up into the air. He breathed it in. Now, here's the kicker. While he was mowing the lawn, a few days before he was mowing the lawn, he was taking a prescription medicine for pain. I forget exactly which prescription medicine it was. It might even have been high-strength, codeine or ibuprofen. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it was. I'm not going to lie to you. But one of the things that drug does when you're taking it is it shuts down a biochemical pathway in your liver which helps your body to detoxify things. That's one of the side effects with drugs, right? Drugs create side effects all the time. There's a primary effect, and then there's the side effect. When this guy took this drug into his system to manage the pain that he was experiencing, he was not aware that it compromised his liver's ability to detox things. So now he's out mowing the grass. He aerates the pesticide, breathes in the pesticide, and his liver can't detox it, so it kills him. The same thing would happen if you were able to just smoke a cigarette all at once, right? All of that nicotine would overwhelm your liver's ability to detoxify it, and you would die. The moral to this story is that detoxification is a nutrient-rich phenomenon. In order for your body to properly detoxify itself, which is, by the way, a very smart and good thing to do from time to time. For goodness sake, we change the oil in our car, right? We change the oil filter in the car. It's a good idea to do the same thing, metaphorically speaking, with the human body. Once a year is a good idea. Once a year, I recommend people get on board with a detox program for 7 days. And I recommend that you do this in warm weather. It's even better if you can do it when you're near salt water, but that's another story. So when you get on board with a detoxification program, guess what? Your body starts burning fat and liberating toxic crap that it's been stored in the fat and stored wherever the body stores this stuff. We don't have the final word on that. We know that it's in there, and we know that the body liberates it when you do certain detoxification protocols. But when you're doing a detoxification protocol, what happens is it's like stirring up a hornet's nest. And your liver, in this case, specifically your liver, better have the nutrients that it needs to handle that load, or you're going to hurt yourself with a detoxification program. I knew a guy when I was in medical school in Seattle. He lived on a little island off the coast of Seattle called Vashon Island. Great little place to live. Beautiful place to live, actually. And, this was back in the day before anybody knew anything about anything, really. This was kind of in the infancy of science-based, clinically verified, physician-directed naturopathic medicine in the country. When this guy attempted this program that he did, he went into the woods and fasted for 40 days like you-know-who, like Jesus Christ, right? That's what he wanted to do. He's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. So he fasted for 40 days just on water, and 6 months later developed leukemia. Now, I am convinced beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was the detox, it was the 40-day fast without any vitamins, without any food, without any antioxidants, without any minerals, without any nutrients, without any essential fatty acids, just water. And God only knows what was in the water he was drinking. He got leukemia because he overwhelmed his body's ability to detoxify stuff. He stirred up a hornet's nest, and it stung him. It got him. So first, we recommend that you nutrify the body. First, you nutrify, and then you detoxify. I don't recommend anybody even look at a detoxification program for at least 6 months that they've been on the longevity medical nutrition health recovery protocol, because the only reason that you're sick in the first place is because your body is under-nutrified. You are running on nutrient fumes. First, it becomes your job and your responsibility to fill that tank up and to stop eating foods that are poking holes in that tank. So you want to secure your body's nutrient load first. You need to fill that tank up. Depending on your diagnosis and the severity of your condition and your age and your height and your weight, it's going to take maybe 4 weeks, maybe 12 weeks, maybe 60 weeks to fill that tank up. You know, it's different for everybody. So you don't want to be playing with fire here. First we nutrify and then we detoxify. And sometime next week I'm going to tell you Dr. Glidden's detoxification strategy. It looks like Tim is back. Tim has a question about drugs. Tim, are you there? You are live with Dr. Glidden.
Yes, sir, Dr. Glidden. My wife is a heart patient. She's taking the longevity products, and she started feeling bad after a couple of days, and I'm just trying to reassure her that everything's going to be okay if she'll just hang in there with it. But she wanted me to tell you what I was wrong with her and what drugs that she's taking.
Well, I'm more interested in what longevity products she's taking and what the negative reactions were. So first tell me what it was that she felt that wasn't good after she started the medical nutrition program.
Just real weak, nauseated, and her blood pressure went up a little bit, and I think it was more due to the blood pressure, but we just want to be sure.
Okay. Did she get constipation, gas, or diarrhea, or any type of stomach cramps into the bargain here?
Well, we wound up going to the hospital with her because her heart blood pressure got up pretty high, and after she got home, the next day she had diarrhea, and then the day after that she was constipated. Yeah, okay.
All right, so number one, she has to be gluten-free, okay? So okay. She has to dial in the elimination of the 10 bad foods. She has to do that, number one. So she has to eliminate all 10 of the bad foods from her diet, okay? Number one. Number two, that reaction specifically is an indication that the red crystalline powder, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, right? And she was taking that, I'm assuming, the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's 117 fruits and vegetables in that product, and it is extremely concentrated. So when she gets constipation or diarrhea and or a spike of blood pressure after taking that stuff, it's because she's having an allergic reaction to one or more of the proteins that's in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine red crystalline powder. So it's a mild allergic reaction. But that's an indication, a direct indication that, number one, she needs to be gluten-free. 100% no wheat, no barley, no rye, and no oats. And it would be smart for her to avoid the other 6 foods as well. Because these type of reactions, these type of allergic reactions happen not because she's taking a supplement, but because her digestive tract has been compromised and damaged by years of eating the wrong food. So this is the genesis of a food allergy. Where somebody gets a food allergy from our vantage point, is from an unhealthy small intestine. So this experience of hers with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a direct indication that she has food allergies that she's not aware of, that she's intolerant to wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So she needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods, and she needs to switch the Beyond Tangy Tangerine to a different product. We are talking to Tim about his wife's condition. The reaction, of course, to the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, it's an indication that she has trouble in her small intestine and her gut. So she needs to be gluten-free 100% starting yesterday. And I would switch out the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. I would keep taking everything else, but switch out the Beyond Tangy Tangerine to a product called Tropical Plus. Tropical Plus. That's a liquid product. The dose on the Tropical Plus is 1 ounce per 100 pounds of body weight per day. And I would put the 1 ounce of the Tropical Plus in 8 ounces of water. And I would take at least 15 minutes to drink it down. If you put 1 ounce in 16 ounces of water, it would be better. 1 ounce in 16 ounces of water, and take at least 30 minutes to drink that down. So, now, one last question, Tim. Does your wife, has she ever had an allergy to shellfish or lobster? Has that ever been a problem for her? No? Okay, all right, good. Because there's a little bit of shellfish in the white liquid calcium, the OsteoFX Plus, all right? So a spike in blood pressure, and which is followed by diarrhea, is a classic sign of an allergic reaction. It's a low-grade allergy. It's not, the type of an allergy like these little kids that have peanut allergies, and if they eat a peanut, their throat swells up and they die. It's not like that. It's a very, very mild form of an allergic reaction, but it is a drop-dead diagnostic hint that she's having trouble and has had trouble for quite a while with wheat, barley, rye, and oats. So we need to dial in the restriction of all of that stuff in order to help her on the way. So you can take the Beyond Tangy Tangerine instead and change it out for her to the Tropical Plus. There should be no problems whatsoever with the Tropical Plus. And this is an interesting thing to talk about, Tim, because, everybody's different, and everybody needs the 90 essential nutrients in order to support and promote their body's ability to fix themselves. But different people may have different reactions to really, really good nutritional supplements, not because there's anything bad specifically in the nutritional supplement, but because there's trouble inside their body. It's kind of like, if you had a little paper cut on your finger and you squirted lemon juice onto that finger, it would sting like a son of a gun. But if you took a finger that didn't have a cut on it, you could dip it in lemon juice all day long and nothing would happen to it, right? So it's not really the lemon juice that's the culprit here. It's the paper cut. Well, it's not really the nutritional supplement. It's the status quo of her intestinal tract, and that's the trouble. So this really needs to be kind of a wake-up call for you guys to get off of wheat, barley, rye, and oats as soon as possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
All right, give it a try, Tim. Call me back with an update. Thank you so much for your call. I believe Al is online next with a dialysis question. Al, you're live with Dr. Glidden.
Yes, Dr. Glidden. I'm calling for a gentleman that goes to kidney dialysis 3 times a week, and he has high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And
you want to know what to do?
Well, I'm trying to convince him to go on to your program here.
Yeah, okay. Well, here's what I want to tell you about that, right? And thanks for calling, man. I mean, this is really great that you're taking a step on your friend's behalf. And like the fella said, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So, boy, I've had lots and lots and lots of people over the years. I should have counted them. It's over 100 people. I can tell you that much. It's over 100. They have come to see me for private consultation. They've followed my advice. They've had a remarkable health turnaround. They get excited. So they want to enroll their husband or their wife or their brother or their sister or their boss or their coworker in the program, right? So what do? They buy, and I used to let people do this. I don't let them do it anymore. But they would buy their friend or their husband or their wife or whomever, a visit with Dr. Glidden. They would pay for it. So the people would come and they'd sit down in my office. I would tell them what to do. And because they were not financially invested in the program, they were completely non-compliant. So the best thing you can do for this person or anybody else in your life is to lend them a copy of The Best of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Lend them a copy of one of my CDs. Have them listen to it, and that should pique their interest. That should pique their curiosity to get them into action on their own behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks so much for logging in.